Hello everyone, this is Matthew Davis, and I've chosen to do my developmental theory project on Vygotsky's theory of cognitive development. So a little bit on Lev Vygotsky. He was a Russian psychologist whose work was developed around the same time as Piaget's work. It wasn't until the 1980s did his work appear in psychology literature. He strongly believed that one's community and social relations play a central role in the process of making meaning or creating understanding. Unlike Piaget, Vygotsky argued that children gain from the knowledge and tools passed down to them from more knowledgeable people who are more intellectually advanced. So people like elders or older brothers or even some peers in cases. Vygotsky's cognitive development theory. To review the assumptions first, his theory on cognitive development is often referred to as social cultural theory since it assumes that how we function is a result of social and cultural forces. An explanation of the cognitive development theory is Vygotsky's theories stress the fundamental role of social interaction in development of cognition. So, without social interaction or being passed down knowledge from more knowledgeable people, we're not going to go develop without that. Another aspect of the theory is psychological tools. According to Vygotsky, the most important thing that culture passes down are psychological tools. This is essentially the why as to why we think the way we think, or why we do the things the way we do the certain things, right? These tools include speech, writing, gestures, and rules, just to name a few. But these all kind of derive within one's culture or within one's social circle of different, relationships within that close social circle. Mediation. Social interaction produces advances in cognitive development through mediation. This is when a more knowledgeable individual helps a child form understandings that are congruent with others in the same cultural group. So essentially, it's when someone more knowledgeable catches a kid up and makes sure they're on the same page as everyone else is within their cultural group. What does this mean for school professionals? Well, for school counselors in particular, it is within our scope of practice to help aid students' social emotional development. Vygotsky's theory directly examines students' development as a result of social interactions. So, as counselors, we could implement programs of intervention such as peer support groups that can kind of create an environment for mediation. So, basically, giving students a platform to help each other out and grow based on each other's different needs, right? Another finding that would be applicable to us as educators is the zone of proximal development. This is the difference between what a child is able to do on their own and what could be achieved with some assistance of others. So basically, what can this student do on their own and what could they do with the help of someone being present? So, for instance, a 5-year-old student could have a ZPD, zone of proximal development, of 3, which means they could perform certain tasks as high as an 8-year-old, even though they are 5. It is found, though, that students with a wide zone of proximal development are more likely to successfully develop when information is given just above their ZDP or ZPD. So, in other words, as long as it's within their scope of understanding, if it's right above that, they'll grow from it. Another finding we found was scaffolding. This is asking leading questions as an educator or giving hints to assist students with solving a problem, which will help them grow. This helps children acquire new skills and knowledge learned through experience that you, in a way, fostered. In 1998, Mark Tapan proposed a 4-part model of scaffolding that we can use within students' zone of proximal development. The first being model desired behavior. This is allowing children to copy behaviors that would otherwise be outside of their zone of proximal development. So that would look like a little brother hanging out with their big brother and adopting the roles of their big brother's friends. It would be actions that would be outside of his zone usually, but since he's with an elder, he's getting exposure to that behavior. Number 2, create dialogue with students. Dialogue with a child allows for cognitive development through question processing, explanations, or just even giving feedback in a conversation. That's important. The third in this proposed four-part model would be practice. This helps expedite the process of internalizing information. So this basically helps students retain the information better. The last would be number four, which is confirmation. This is encouraging and reinforcing students' ability so they feel supported in a sense. Meeting students' needs. So, how does this theory help educators meet students' needs? Well, I, in particular, concentrated on high school students, and first would be helping students develop within their ZPD, their zone of proximal development. If they're able to be challenged within their zone, I feel that they could, successfully grow, especially for students who are at need of behavioral issues or issues that could be solved through peer mediation. Scaffolding issues with students, that I just mentioned right now, peer mediation, by allowing more interaction between students or pairing students with a weak reader and a strong reader, for example, we're creating more opportunities for mediation, which leads into number three, which is encouraging team related activities. So, without us educators giving students opportunities to work with each other, they're not able to grow and learn from each other through work or just through association. And according to Vygotsky's theory, social interactions is the number one way we're going to develop cognitively. So that is my presentation. Here are my references, and thank you for watching.